This has come about from the email I've had from, but he asked for some ideas on doing bogies for rolling stock. And what I want to do tonight is just spend a little bit of time on what I've done with bogies and the sort of bit of research I've done. And I'm going to do a couple of specific items, and then I can always do it in fuller detail next time round. And I also want to spend a little bit of time towards the end on resin printing and supports. Malcolm there has sent me, he's had some problems with resin work. So I said we spend a bit of time on supports. So let me share my screen again. I'm going to just do a little bit, just a 5-minute PowerPoint first of all on what I've done, because I did a bit of research following the request from the member. So I'll go through this and I'll go into Fusion. So the one thing I did found that there doesn't seem to be a standard. All railways had their own standard. GWI had many. And these are the sort of pictures that I pulled off the internet. There's no end of photos and drawings on there of this format. And you can see there's a number of different styles here, both on the left and the right. And what I'm going to do today, this evening, and maybe overflow to the next meeting as well, is to do some design ideas rather than do a particular model, as it were. Let me just move up again. So that's the sort of drawing that I managed to download. And I thought, blimey, I'm going to be here all day drawing this. And apart from that, I'm looking at 00 gauge. In N gauge, it would be worse. We don't need that degree of detail. Although it's a good drawing, and you could import that as your canvas in Fusion and do a lot of tracing. So then we had the two bogies there. The one on the left here is a picture that's right, Andy sent me, because that's what he's trying to do. And the one on the right is a GWR one that I downloaded from the internet to get some idea of what we got. And it seems to me there were two main designs, the leaf spring design and what I'm going to call a compression spring design. Now, the internet search for good, simple dimension drawing from which to produce a 3D print still proved difficult, as you've seen from that previous drawing, which was more an engineering drawing. So I decided to enlist the help of AI, which, as I just mentioned earlier, I've gone mad with this week. And I asked the question, can you give me a drawing showing a GWR rolling stock bogie? And where's my buttons? And that's what it came back with. And I thought, that's not bad. Because all I asked it was that question that you've seen previously. That's the drawing it came back with, which I think is from the point of view of its detail, it's far easier for me to work with that in Fusion than the previous one. I haven't done this in Fusion yet, but I will be doing so. I then asked it, can you provide a 3D drawing of a leaf spring assembly used on rolling stock? And it came up with that. And that is better than anything I could find doing a web browser search for a railway leaf spring axle assembly. So a little bit of I'm not pushing AI, but it seems to me that, as we said some time ago when we were looking at brickwork on Fusion, AI has a role to play, but you have to be in control, as it were. So what I've decided to do was to settle on two designs, as it were. The top design, the leaf spring, is loosely based on that earlier GWR drawing I showed you. And the compression spring at the bottom is loosely on that grey one that Andy sent me. So tonight what I want to look at is two things. I want to look at specifically the design of the leaf spring rather than all of it. And also I want to look at creating these springs in this area here, which is on this framework, okay? Right, so we'll look at the leaf spring first. Now this is the Fusion drawing of that frame. And we can go into a lot of detail on the way I've done it here, but I want to look at the leaf spring itself for the moment. Now, I think it's that one. No, it's that one there. So that's the leaf spring. Now, I'm not going to show you how to draw. What I'll do is go through the timeline, which is an easier thing to do. So let me just go back in the timeline, and then we can look at how we did it. So we ended up with two sketches. We have one sketch, forget the square for the moment. We have one sketch, which is the two circles and the main spring. And then in there, let me just turn that one off. Oops, that one. That there is the profile of the spring, okay? So if we step through that, we can see what we're going to do. So let's make sure I step through it right. So the first thing we do is we take the profile and we use the sweep command to sweep it along the profile line there at the back. Okay, that gives us our first leaf spring. Next is we copy it down, however many you want to copy down. It's not a copy command, I'm actually using the pattern command. So if we go into the pattern command, you can see there I've copied it down on a pattern. And I've done 4 springs, you might need 5 or 6 springs. Next is to start reducing the size of the springs. Now the way I do that one is, I'll just go back up and show you. You've got the individual springs. So I highlight the one I want to do, and I use the press pull command. I've worked this out before, and I'm going to go, I don't want to put a positive number next, I want to go backwards. So it's minus 2.5, and that takes it back. Okay, let me cancel that and go back on the timeline. Then the next one is minus 5, and the next one is minus 7.5. And then we go to the other end and do the same thing. Minus 2.5, minus 5, and minus 7.5, and we have our spring. The next stage now is to create the bit up here. And I said I'll go back now and do that one in edit mode as well so you can see it. So what we're effectively doing, let me just go backwards. What we're doing now is we're picking up that profile. We don't always need a sketch profile. We can take the profile that's been extruded, click on that, and we're going to use the sweep command, and the profile is there and the path is that one. And we want to make sure that we change it from cut to join. And then we can use the arrows. Oops, get that one out the way a minute. Bring that one back. Let's go on the right way. And you can bring them down to wherever you want to bring them down. Excuse me. And we do the same the other end. And we just basically highlight the circle. You've already got the circle there now, which uses a profile. So you can extrude that out, put the chamfer on it, and that becomes your pin. And then do the same on the other end. That's running right through it. And then that rectangle I told you about earlier was the block to hold them together. Just put the block in and then just extrude it to make it look nice. And then I just put a chamfer on the edges. And that then, turn off the sketches, that becomes our spring. Now there is another way of doing it, which I'll show you as well, which uses less sketches. And if we go to this one, you can. I haven't put the studs in the end for this one because I only want to show you a slight difference. Let me go back to the beginning, and we put our sketch in, and this time that's our sketch now. So the way that sketch is done is 2 circles either end. Use the, let me go into the sketch for you. Use the 3-point arc to draw an arc from that point across to that point and down to there. Highlighting the circle and that point there and hitting the tangent to make sure they're nicely joined. And then using the offset command, draw an offset line out here, whatever thickness you want the spring. And that finishes the sketch. Next stage then is to extrude it. There. Next then is to put a chamfer on the front edges. Now, the chamfer there, as I explained last time, that's not because spring's got a chamfer on, but that chamfer is about 0.1, 0.15. It is purely there for no other reason other than when you print it out, you can then see individual leaves. If that chamfer wasn't there, it would just print out as a block. So the chamfer is purely there to create that groove, if you like, so you can see individual springs. Whoops. And then, again, exactly the same as before, I use the rectangle pattern command to put 4 in. And the same thing again with the lengths of them. And the same thing at the ends with the curve. The only difference with this one is that I didn't draw in a profile. If we just turn the bodies off a minute and put the sketches on, you can see I'm using a profile there. On this one, I didn't use the profile. It's just the normal sketch which was extruded out. Which way you use is up to you. I find this way a bit quicker, but it's entirely up to you which way you want to do it. I shall stop at that moment. If anybody got any questions on this one before I move on to the helical spring.